Blessed be everyone. Hello and welcome to another episode of Whispers of the Craft. I'm your host, Mrs. Witchy Perfect. Today we're going to talk about the Athame. Uh, this is mine. I'll show it a little later. Okay. So I wanted to give some background on that. Let me get the screen up for you. So I just wanted to give some background, the tools, and we're going to talk about the Athame, the elemental debates, appearance to cut, nut or not to cut, choosing your Athame. Okay, so let's start with the first one. This is a general reading, so let's get right to it. The Wiccan Athame is a double-edged ritual knife and is used for directing energy such as cutting unwanted energy ties, drawing symbols in the air, drawing the sacred circle before ritual, and closing it afterwards. The Athame is not necessarily very sharp, both for safety reasons and because traditionally it doesn't actually cut anything on the physical plane. The Athame's masculine assertive qualities make it a powerful representation of the god. And let me just stop there. The other thing is, that is sort of true, but I can use mine when I carve symbols into a candle. Um, so it is sort of sharp, but sharp to a point, right? Um, Sorry about that. That's not what I wanted to do. What did I want to do? Okay, here we go. Here we go. So if you use yours in your spell work as well as much as I do, um, I like to carve symbols and stuff into when I'm doing candle magic. And now again, you don't have to do this if you do not want to, but I use real candles. You can use battery powered, but a little hard to carve your symbols and stuff into a battery powered non real candle, right? um, but for sake and purposes, I like to carve symbols and carve, you know, say words, carve words into my candles. Symbols, you can do the zodiac signs. If you're looking for love, you can carve in just words like what you're looking for. So, funny, passionate, empathy, whatever it is that you are looking for. And I do apologize. There is someone mowing their lawn very close to where we are. So I do apologize for that. If you hear a lawnmower, I do apologize. But anyway, so I want to let you know that, and let me, I guess I can't make that bigger. Let me see. La, la, la. Zoom. Let's zoom it in a bit. All right, zoom it in a bit so everyone can see that, I hope. Okay. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, um, if you use taper candles or if you use any kind of candle, you can also carve symbols and words. The elements, you can definitely carve the element symbols. You can really pretty much any symbol you want. If you want to use it as a protection, you can do a protection symbol and carve it into the candle that you're using. Um, I mean, there's so much you can do with the Athame. Yes, it is for cutting energies, unwanted energies, negative energies that no longer serve you. And just be careful. I'm not going to unsheath mine, but do be careful when you are cutting, and make sure to unsheath yours. But when you are cutting those energies off, make sure that you don't hurt yourself. But yeah, it is for cutting energies. And the only thing I would say, I don't know if it cuts, but I mean, you can cut herbs with it if you wish. I have a mortal and pestle, so I don't really need it for cutting, but you can cut herbs if you wish. You can cut, if you were cutting twigs or if you were whittling, I guess you could use your thing for that. As long as it's in a magical, setting that you're doing this. But that's what I would say. Okay, so let's go to the elemental debate. The Athame is associated with both fire and air, depending on the tradition. Those who link it with air are drawing from the symbolism of pre Wiccan esoteric systems like that found in the hermetic hermetic order of the Golden Dawn, which was a major influence on Wicca. Because sharpness is associated with intellect, the dominant of air, the domain, excuse me, the domain of air, and because of the Athame directs energy through its movements in the air, this association feels the most authentic for many Wiccans. Those who link it with fire point to the fact that knives are literally forged in fire. That's true. They when they forge the metal, they use the fires, excuse me, and that they are agents of transformation. Of course, the latter can be said about the wand as well. If you are a eccentric practitioner without a set tradition to follow, simply go with the association that makes intuitive sense for you. So yeah, some think that because the thing was forged in fire, of course everybody knows that to make metal you have to forge that in fire. So that I apologize, a really loud lawnmower in the background. I hope you guys can't hear it, but if you can, I do apologize. Hopefully you can hear me over that. So yeah, all this metal here, if you guys can see that, I don't know if you can, but if you can see it, oops, I wanted to do, yes, that. Actually, I wanted to go back. Okay. So, if you see here, all this metal here had to be forged and had to be, cut down. So the Athame is, of course, your thing may have a wooden handle, a wooden sheath. It just depends on how you want it to look. And I actually saw this for a couple of dollars on Amazon. Really liked it. I did have another one that was actually had a excuse me, had a wooden handle and a wooden sheath as well. So you can get these pretty much anywhere at a Wiccan store, or you can get them at on Amazon. Do make sure that if you do get this off of Amazon or from a store, that you consecrate these things just as much as you would a wand. Okay, let's continue. Okay. I could go back and forth. Woohoo. All right, let's do that. Okay, so the appearance. The quintessential Athame resembles a simple dagger. It has a black hilt or handle and is generally no longer than the length of one's hand. A long knife can be unwielding and therefore dangerous, not to mention more difficult to store and or travel with. The handle is said to store a small amount of the magical energy raised in ritual for later use, such as in spellwork or charging other tools. Athames can be found in shops specialized in Wicca or other neo-pagan spiritual traditions. Some have gorgeously ornate hilts carved with magical symbols or set with crystals. Now, mine does have a crystal here. Sorry. Sorry. I know it's loud, but I have a bit of a gemstone here, a sapphire gemstone. Um, I just liked it because it was really cool. I like this. It's like a Celtic knot here on the hilt. Again, if you want to go all tradition, go all tradition. If you like the fact that this would have, like, let's say this would have crystals in it, not just a sapphire here, but like if it had like, I don't know if pick your if it had I don't know, amethyst, if it had, whatever your favorite crystal is, and if you see an Athame with a crystal on it on the hilt, take it. Whatever suits you. You absolutely do not have to do what I have. You don't have to get it off of Amazon. You can go to a neo-pagan store or Wiccan store or any kind of new age store that sells them. Okay, let's go back to this. Others even have crystal blades. I don't know if you want to use the crystal blades. I guess you can, but just be careful with that. I don't know if you can carve stuff. I guess you could still carve into like if you were doing a candle ritual, I guess you still could do that. Just be very, very careful. Okay, so other have crystal blades indeed, and Athame can be the most beautiful knife you've ever seen. However, not all Wiccans prefer or can afford the most glorious versions, and many will consecrate a simple kitchen knife instead. Again, this is up to you guys. It's all what you decide to interpret. It's what you decide you want to interpret and how you see this coming to your uh your altar, because you're going to put this on your altar as this is the symbol of the god. So you will put it where you put the god on the altar. Okay, so where whatever the symbol of the god is, or however you have your altar set up, that's where you're going to put your Athame. Remember, this is just all stuff that you can do. If you cannot afford, like I said, this was a couple of dollars on Amazon. So if you cannot afford something like this, like, you know, even something simple, if you still can't afford that and you want to use a kitchen knife, just make sure that you don't use the kitchen knife for anything other than your ritual work. Okay, because this is just for your spell work, your ritual work, and this is only for your Wiccan altar, or your altar, pagan altar, Wiccan altar, whatever you want to do. Okay, so please, if you do not have money for that, please, please, please do not worry. You can take a kitchen knife that you have, but remember, when you consecrate it, it is only for your spell work, okay, or ritual work. All right, back to this. So la la la. Okay. Uh Consecrated is you can etch your own symbol carving into the handle. If you go this route, be sure to wrap the blade securely first. Okay, so like if you let's say you have a kitchen knife that is sort of dull, like I would say like a butter knife almost, and you can put crystals on it. You can totally bezaddle it or bedazzle it. You can totally bedazzle it if you want to. Super, a little bit of hot glue, and put some crystals on it. If you have some crystals that you don't mind using only for ritual purposes, or if you have some symbols you want to carve into it, you can whittle. You can do anything you want. This is your Athame, guys. You can do whatever you wish with your Athame. Okay, so but it also can be very plain if you don't want to put anything, any symbols, anything. If you don't want to, if you just want a plain kitchen knife, consecrate it and then put it on your altar, but you can only use it for your Wiccan rituals and spells. Okay, so let's move on to cut or not to cut. Although the Athame is never used for actual cutting in Orthodox Wicca, newer traditions make a few exceptions. This includes harvesting herbs, using in spell work, shaping a new wand from the branch of a tree, or carving magical symbols into a candle. We were talking about that before for ritual use. So I have done this, and I like doing this with my Athame, even though it is not a butter knife. It is not. I mean, it is an Athame specially made for this. I got it off of Amazon, I think for like $10, guys. I'm not going to say it was like more than 20. Okay. So like $10 to $15. If you don't have that to spare, again, a plain kitchen knife is fine, but you will carve symbols into a candle. I have done this. Words, candles, whatever you want, like I said, if you want to, do protection, you can you can look up all kinds of symbols for protection. You can look up zodiac signs if you're looking for a specific not a specific person, but if you're looking for a person with a specific zodiac sign, because you think that will those kinds of people are kind of your people. I'll tell you what, before I met my soulmate, he is an Aries, and I never would have thought an Aries would work out with me, being a Taurus. But then I thought, wait a second, I'm an Aries Taurus because I was born on a cusp between Aries and Taurus, right? So when I look back on it, I was kind of like, well, okay. So an Aries actually would be good for me because my dad's an Aries and my mom is a Taurus. and I'm an Aries Taurus. Um, so my man being an Aries is actually quite awesome. And I mean, we are just so well matched. So, so in my thing before I met my soulmate, twin flame, um, I would carve, an Aries symbol into it, into a candle. Again, whatever symbol you find, you can look them up on Google. You can definitely, as my dad would say, you can definitely giggle it. And look at the images and follow along. If you're very good at carving in symbols, you can draw pictures. Just don't make them too, you don't have to make it detailed. You don't have to make you can if you want to. If you are an artist and you want to put a picture of, I don't know, a bull because you want a Taurus to come into your life or something, or you can carve a scorpion. For Scorpios, if you want a Scorpio in your life. My son is a Scorpio, so I got a tiger by the tails, guys. But I love my Scorpio because he is very unique, and my son, he just blows me away with how much he laughs. He loves to laugh. He loves life, and I love that about him. So again, you carve whatever symbols. Again, you can carve pictures if you're good at carving. But again, they don't have to be detailed if you're not that good. You can just draw symbols. You can just write words if you're good at carving words into candles. Whatever is good for you is good for your spell work. You do not have to be detailed. You don't have to be a carving artist. But if you are and you want to, carve a picture into your, excuse me, your candle, oh man, I'm sorry. If you want to do that, absolutely do that. Show off your skills because you're going to burn the candle anyway. I don't know. I mean, if you want to go all out, go all out. This is your ritual. This is your spell work. You absolutely do not have to follow anything I say here. Let me just, maybe they turned it off. I'm sorry for the, all right. I hope everyone can still see that. Okay. All right. Let's, some kitchen witches may even use their thing to prepare magical foods. This is where you could use that. You could use your kitchen knife in magical food preparation for offerings. If you want to give an offering to the god and goddess, and you want to prepare your food, you can prepare it with your kitchen Athame. In which case they will use a more practical single-edged knife. However, many practitioners choose to use a separate knife called a belayne. For these purposes, the belayne is traditionally white-handled, and while still considering a magical tool, is not used in actual ritual. So you can have a separate single-edged knife for just preparation of magical foods or offerings, excuse me. All right, let's go to the next. Choosing your thing. As with any other ritual tool, the process of choosing one can be interesting and fun. If you're in a coven, then obviously you'll choose one that fits the coven's requirements. And I'm going to do this with my coven when we are initialized or initiated. When we are initiated, and that would be at the end of our class. So we are still having classes. And when we are officially initiated into the coven and coven sisters, we will definitely choose an Athame. My teacher has already told me this. We will choose one that we only use for the coven. Now, if you have a separate one for your own solitary practice, that is fine. I do. This is mine. I will not use this in coven rituals because this is my solitary consecrated Athame. Okay. And I think it says if you are solitary, you have more options. Either way, be sure to take a few moments with each knife you're considering and take note of how it feels in your hand. You may have to pick up several before you find the one that's right for you, but when you find it, you will know. All right, great. So we will go back to what we were talking about here. Sorry about that. Okay, I just wanted to get everything situated. Okay. So again, this is my thing. Again, I'm not going to unsheath it because I don't YouTube would have a fit. Um So, but anyway, this is the Athame. If I unsheath it, it looks like a dagger. It is not, and it is not used to cut anything other than to carve things into a candle. We do not hurt people. We do not hurt animals. We do not hurt any living thing with these. We do not sacrifice anybody. There is no such thing as sacrificing. So if you have come to this channel, you do not know what Wiccans are about. You want to know what Wiccans are all about. Wiccans and pagans do not sacrifice. We do not sacrifice animals. We do not sacrifice plants. We do not sacrifice human beings. We harm none and do as they will. Okay. These are only for candle magic or cutting of herbs. Unless you have a mortal and pedestal. But you can also use this. You can carve your wand. You can also, if you're good at carving, like I said, if you're good at carving, draw pictures, like little detailed pictures. Go all out if you have to. Like I said, this is just, just some ideas that were thrown around for the Athame. So this is what mine looks like. My background is kind of taking it out, but this is what mine looks like with the little gemstone there. And this is the other side. So pretty much the same. Like I said, I'm not going to unsheath it because I think that YouTube will have a problem with that. But that is the end of our episode today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I haven't been really doing a half hour. I've kind of been doing like 20 minutes. That's because I have been very, very busy. Now, next week, I will not be recording, but I am a little bit ahead for this show. So you will not see any interruptions. I just will have to, I'll be like a week ahead instead of like 2 or 3 weeks ahead. Okay. So I'll be like 2 weeks ahead instead of 3, or 1 instead of 2. Okay. So don't panic. Everything is going to be fine. You will get another episode when I come back. I have a prior engagement next week, next Friday. So this is the 11th that it is being shown. This probably won't be seen till the end of June, or excuse me, the end of June, the end of July, like endish of July. So again, you will not miss a beat, you will not miss an episode, but I just have a prior engagement next week and I will not be recording. So I hope you enjoyed this. For YouTube, you guys will hear an outro, just a little bitty to let you know the outro song is AI generated. For Rumble, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you here back next week for another episode. Again, you guys will not miss a beat. You will not miss an episode. Trust me on that. All right. Have a great one, and blessed be everybody. Blessed be everyone. I just want to let everyone know that the AI song at the end is AI generated. Again, it is AI generated. Blessed be, and have a great day, everybody.
In a cabin out by the pines, she lights candles, they intertwine. Her whispers drift through the night, under the stars her spell takes flight. With a notebook worn and gray, she calls the moon, shows her the way. Ancient runes beneath her gaze, in her circle the fires blaze. She's a moonlit witch in Tennessee, casting charms by the old oak tree. With a heart as wild as a midnight wind, her magic spins, it never ends. Sage and cedar fill the air, her sacred rituals laid bare. Under sky so big and wide, she carries secrets she doesn't hide. Her cauldron bubbles in midnight stroke, in the stillness the spirit spoke. She walks barefoot on the forest floor, in her soul the wild hearts roar. She's a moonlit witch in Tennessee, casting charms by the old oak tree. With a heart as wild as a midnight wind, her magic spins, it never ends. Tennessee, casting charms by the old oak tree. With a heart as wild as a midnight wind, her magic spins, it never ends. She's a moonlit witch in Tennessee, casting charms by the old oak tree. With a heart as wild as a midnight wind, her magic spins, it never ends.